but you remember with hindsight the really great moments and the really terrible ones. You know, I mean, I remember stuff like headlining at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and the crowd was so nuts that we literally, after we played as multiple encores, everything we knew, the promoter came in, we already had street clothes on, he said, "You've got to go out there and tell them something because they just won't leave." So I went out there and said, "People, we love you, and obviously you like what we did, but we've played you every tune we know. Look at these clothes. I'm about to go get a meal, you know." So they were good about it. They didn't get belligerent. They left. You know.
That's
So
good.
those things are the things that you remember, and the horrible, horrible ones where you would have just as soon been, "Scotty, beam me to anywhere." You know, I just don't want to be here right now. So
Can you remember one of the horrible ones you might
I've
mind
tried
dredging
to
up?
block them.
I'm
out
sure
of
you
it.
have.
I don't want to go there again.
Okay, well,
Now we actually did one time. We were in Monroe, Louisiana.
okay.
And they were still, we were in some mid-sized arena, and the power was not enough to, this was before they had great PA systems for rock and roll and everything. And we kept blowing the fuses, tripping the things, and we got really, really annoyed. And our drummer said a few uncomplimentary things, and the sheriff there, he said, "You can't say that, you're a Monroe boy." And so, well, we got out there with a high, but actually one of my favorite, which is actually not a bad memory, we were in Winston-Salem and we were met at the airport by the police chief, the mayor, and for some reason that I can't fathom to this day, the fire department chief. And they said, "We have something to talk to you about because there's a fellow, a Baptist preacher running for local office, and he's listened to all of your songs, and he's got great objections about you playing in a memorial arena that was, financed with money from whatever. And here's the list of songs you don't get to play." And I said, "Just a minute." And they had on their Monster, "Don't
Sure.
Step on the Grass," and the Pusher, da. Anyway, make a story somewhat shorter. After back and forth, we said, "Well, listen, I'll tell you what, we can get the ACLU in here, we can call our PR firm, you guys can, this can become a really nasty thing." So we did some horse trading. It came down to this. They said, "Okay, fine. The only thing you can't do, you can't say those words in the Pusher."
Okay.
So, we got our guys together in a huddle. So we came up with an idea. I said, "Let's do this." We went out, and, there was a sellout, I don't know, it was 9,000 or whatever. We had a great show, great crowd, played everything. And the guy had said, "Well, we're going to have a policeman up on stage, and if you do this, you'll be arrested on the spot."
Wow.
Okay, fine. I'll keep looking over my shoulder. The guy's standing over
Yeah,
there,
watching you,
fondling his 45. And we're doing the whole show, and then comes encore time.
Okay.
So we will go out there, and I say, "You know what? Today we have to make a decision. We could have either said, we're not going to do this under these conditions, and a lot of people would have been disappointed, and we would have come here for nothing, or we could make a promise, which we're intending to keep, which is that we will not sing two particular words out of this next song. On the other hand, we made no such promise on your behalf." And when we got to goddamn the Pusher, 9,000 people at the top of their lungs
Sang those two words.
sang those two words repeatedly.
Aha.
So there were a lot of red faces backstage, but we did not spend the evening in jail.
Never out of the
So that's
woods,
how we
didn't
kind
have
of
to.
did the work.
That's terrific. What a great story. We're talking with John Kay from Steppenwolf Backstage, and it's been a long day and a long night. We're going to wrap things up from the Backstage concert show. Any thoughts before we close out here, John?
Well, it was, we were lucky with the weather. We were lucky, as I mentioned before, that everything worked pretty well. And when you travel far from home, you spend, 48 hours, whatever, to go somewhere, it all comes down to that 90 minutes, whatever, you're on stage. And when you can walk off stage and hopefully left them smiling and you're smiling yourself, it was time well spent. So thanks for inviting us to your party. And I think all things considered, hopefully they're smiling as they're driving home.
Oh, I'll bet you they are. Smart.